Okay, before I get into the video, I have to give a big shout out to Squarespace for sponsoring this video. I'm gonna give you guys more info at the end of the video, so make sure to stick around for that. A few days ago, I did something pretty unexplainable in Rocket League. Something so weird, so foreign, that I had to make a video about it. So if you want to find out what that is, stick around to the very end of the video to find out what it is I did. And actually, I need your guys' help because I don't think there's a complete consensus on what is actually happening. Anyways, I figured it would be fun to highlight some of the very weirdest, craziest things that you can actually do in Rocket League. In some ways, this is much like my video about the 10 craziest mechanics, because obviously there are some crazy mechanics in this video. But since so much has happened since that old video, which came out in March of 2018, by the way, since that's been a very long time, I figured it would be okay to talk about some of the weirder mechanics that have been discovered since then. And also we're going to talk about much more than just mechanics. So sit back, enjoy the ride, make sure to subscribe if you haven't already. At this point, there's actually a bunch of Rocket League YouTubers who are racing to 1 million subs because being second to John Sandman is important apparently. I know that I'm not in that race, and that's cool, that's fine with me. But if like all of you guys subscribed to this video who weren't subscribed, because still the vast majority of you are not subscribed, I suddenly would be in the race. How hilarious would it be if they all just turned around and I was like right there with like 350,000 subs? My most subs in one day was like just over 5,000, so maybe we could do 10,000. I don't know. So if you like watching my videos, that's a really great way that you can support me, and it's totally free. And an extra bonus for those of you who turn on notifications, if you do that, you probably won't lose a ranked match today, because that makes sense. All right, let's jump into the weirdest things that you can do in Rocket League. Number 10 goes to a mechanic that was initially perfected by one of the bots that was made in the RL bots community. So this was found by humans, but perfected by bots. And now I'd say there are some players working on perfecting this and getting better at it. Rising Star 111 was the name that came up in the RL bot Discord. And here's the video of him showing and explaining how doing this is actually superior to just driving and boosting on the wall for things like recovery and just keeping your momentum. Now, I personally do not understand this, or really how this is possible. I think it must just take bot-like reflexes to pull off. Anyways, basically, the bot is wave dashing on the wall repeatedly to gain momentum, and in this Reddit post, he does explain how to do it. So I'll put a link in the description below if you guys feel like trying this out or perfecting it. I could definitely see this being useful, like in competitive. I'm sure a year from now, people will be doing stuff like this, but currently, not a lot of people are doing it. All right, number 9 is a weird little thing that I discovered a while back in Rocket League. It's basically this. The force from any type of explosion will actually move the ball a bit. So a demo, for example, does impact the trajectory of the ball. I think a lot of people knew that, but going in and actually doing it and seeing it, I don't know, it's just really weird. You don't think about that when you're demoing someone in Rocket League, that you could actually be affecting the ball in some way. And we also discovered that when you leave a match, that little laser that appears, well, that's actually a real force in the game, and it too actually moves the ball about the same amount as a car explosion. Obviously, this has zero impact on actual gameplay, unless you're playing casual or something, and maybe your opponents rage quit often. But the odds of actually nudging the ball into the goal is quite low, because if the ball is moving, it's really hard to actually change how fast it's moving. Regardless, it's cool to see how intricate Rocket League is as a physics-based game, you know? Everything just kind of makes sense. Speaking of things that make sense, let us talk about the KeemStomp. Now, if you're on Twitter, you may have seen this. Keemstar tweeted this out in October of 2018, and the Rocket League community dubbed it the KeemStomp. Now, I made an entire video about this back in the day, and I actually tried to land a successful KeemStomp in that video, and I did so unsuccessfully. Basically, you just jump your car up and land it perfectly on the ball without needing to drive around or anything. Like, if you land and then drive around to stop it, that doesn't really count. And you have your car sort of stomp the ball into the ground. Now, the craziest thing about this is that in that video, the ball is actually bouncing. It's not just like rolling and he stops it. It's bouncing and he sort of pinches it on the ground. Kind of the way that sometimes you'll go for a pinch on the wall and it'll just like kill your car and like all the momentum and you just sort of sit on the ball. But yeah, this is very difficult. Give it a try if you feel like, you know, making it happen, but it's probably not going to happen. Number 7 goes to a weird little thing that you can do in split screen. Basically, you can play with 2 cars and 1 controller. That's right, 2 cars, 1 controller. Now I think the first time that this was discovered was actually back in 2016, where this guy, Kunai0, hooked up his controller through a program called DS4 Windows, and the game recognized his controller as 2 controllers, thus making it possible to do the exact same motions and moves for 2 cars in split screen. And then back in February of 2017, Jacob, who is a former pro from NRG, he actually did a whole series playing split screen with himself. And that was where I actually first discovered this madness. I remember watching those videos a couple times. And also there's this goal from Reddit user Creandria, playing split screen with himself or herself, I'm not sure.
Like Herm or whatever, like I don't know what to call.
And scoring this ridiculous goal. Pretty crazy. Number 6 goes to the ceiling shuffle and the reverse ceiling shuffle. Truly perfected as a freestyle move by the freestyler Novel, and especially this goal, the forward ceiling shuffle to reverse ceiling shuffle into like 48 stalls and 37 flip resets. Probably a contender for goal of the year. But yeah, this was initially discovered by this guy, Wedgerox. And I love it because he discovered it accidentally. And I love this comment. This makes me wonder what players will be doing in the next 2 years or so. Little did he know, freestylers like Novel would be doing this kind of stuff forwards and backwards and like scoring goals off of it. Now it's all about how you land on the ceiling when you fly up to it, and from there you sort of just move back and forth without air rolling or boosting. And again, it's all about that initial touch of your wheels on the ceiling. You sort of have to be like turned a little bit, and it's very difficult, but like anything in Rocket League, if you put in the time, you can master this. I have not yet done this because honestly, I don't really care to learn this that much. But yeah, it's pretty weird. Number 5 goes to something posted a few months ago back on the Rocket League subreddit, and I loved it so much that I had to include it. This is called the Era Flick, I guess, discovered by Reddit user Peanut01. Now I don't fully understand how he's doing this, and apparently even he doesn't fully understand how he's doing it. It looks like he's jumping and then dodging into the ground, and then somehow that gives him another dodge. Like when he leans back the second time, he's getting that second dodge because his back wheels maybe are like barely grazing the ground. I don't know, it's really weird looking, but that's how I interpret it. I could be wrong. As always, just let us know down below if you have an idea of how this is being accomplished. And again, nice work, Peanut. Very cool goal. All right, number 4 goes to Reddit user Jacko Hearts with this wonderful little discovery for all of the lonely Rocket League players out there. You can actually play volleyball in Rocket League by yourself, so you can switch between teams fast enough. Now, this is for all the guys who just can't find a friend. We see you, man. We know that nobody accepts your Steam invites, and we offer you this solution. Just go into a volleyball match and play by yourself. Now, I can't say you'll feel any less lonely, but you will improve your volleyball skills and your aerial skills, which is very important. Or you could just go solo queue. That's basically the system in Rocket League where the game forces players to play with you. Forcing people to be your friends is always a good solution in my opinion, so just go with that. All right, number 3 goes to the roll reset, which is similar to the heli jump, except it's off the wall and there's no jumping included. Now, if you didn't know what the heli jump was, it's basically a mechanic that could be patched. I'm not sure. Maybe you can still do this. I don't know. Anyways, it's a way of leaving the ground without using your dodge. Like you'll still have your dodge available. Now, I first heard about this sort of roll reset off of the wall at RLCS because this guy came up to me and he showed me a GIF of him doing it, and he claimed that he was the one who discovered it. He said that it was blowing up on Reddit, so I'm assuming this was him. I don't know. Anyways, this is from Reddit user Coach Kissy. Great name. And he basically just lands on the wall in a certain way that he ends up leaving the surface without having to jump. And basically this makes it so that he has an infinite amount of time on his dodge. So he could then fly all the way across the field and hit a shot with more power, or set up a double touch with his dodge available. Now there's lots of possibilities here, and I'm shocked I haven't seen more freestylers doing this. It totally seems like something Muri or Jaxi or really any of those guys could pull off. And maybe people will actually start learning these kinds of things and doing them in RLCS too. That's possible. All right, number 2 goes to a move that I believe was initially called the Sting Pop, because the freestyler Sting was the first person to start doing this. So I had to include it. It's just so crazy to me. And the standout goal for me is this one by Rezi, where he actually does a Sting Pop into a backboard double touch. So I messaged him and he told me that the way he's doing this is to actually dodge into the ground. So if you turtle at the ball without dodging, nothing will happen. Like your car won't leave the ground. But if you dodge into it and do a flip cancel, he said that basically your car can actually leave the ground. Now that, coupled with the fact that he gets bumped a little bit in this clip, makes it so that he popped extra high and managed to hit the ball in the goal. Now this is, in my opinion, one of the craziest goals of all time, And like I said in my tweet, I think a goal like this is deserving of being, at least in the running for goal of the year. All right, guys, finally we made it to the thing that I accidentally did not too long ago. I'm calling it a wave dash on the ball, but I'm still not 100% convinced that that's what's happening. Others have done this as well. It's not like I discovered this, and it's happened to me a bunch of times. But this specific moment was extra intense. Like whatever I did it like 5 times, and it makes me wonder if players couldn't do this, say like 100 times or something like that. Well, maybe not 100, maybe like 15 times. So watch the clip and see what you guys think. Am I wave dashing? Like what exactly is happening? Because it doesn't look like any type of wave dash that I've ever seen. It's like my car is propelling off and onto the ball over and over again. So let's bring together the intellect of the entire Rocket League community in the comment section below and let me know what you think is happening. All right, guys, there you have it. 10 weird things that you may not have known you could do in Rocket League. Give some of these a try, and if you master any of them, tag me on Twitter with a nice little clip at FLuuMP90. Again, don't forget to subscribe. I'm trying to get to 10,000 new subs today, which would be an all-time record for me and would put me that much closer to being like the 8th Rocket League YouTuber to hit 1 million subs. All right, guys, as I mentioned earlier, this video is sponsored by Squarespace. Now, I'm sure many of you know about Squarespace, but if not, basically it is an all-in-one website building platform. And I can say from personal experience, as somebody who knows nothing about building websites, but who's used Squarespace and other website builders, this is the best option for you and whatever it is that you need a site for. Design is so simple on Squarespace and it always looks good, so you don't need to like have a degree or anything like that to make your site look really clean and awesome. Squarespace is used by creatives and people all over the world, from musicians to local small businesses to e-commerce sites. And with 24/7 support and endless resources on whatever questions that you may have as you build your site, Squarespace is the best option for you if you're wanting to build a website. So go to squarespace.com/FLuuMP to get a free trial and 10% off your first purchase. I put a link in the description below just to make it easy for you guys. Check it out. All right, guys, thanks for watching and we'll see you next time. Peace out.